Hi, this is film critic Ahwaan from Cineblues, and I'm thrilled to have filmmaker Ayesha Sood, whose latest documentary, Indian Predator, The Butcher of Delhi, has hit Netflix in this week. Uh, this is a very gripping and riveting series of 3 episodes, and it is based on the real life incidents and centers around a deranged and serial killer whose gruesome murders had shaken the Delhi police machinery. It was during the October 2006-2007 timeline when this series of murders took place, where the criminal committed these gruesome murders, and he had even challenged the police to catch him if they could. So, in this conversation with Aisha, we will discuss about this documentary and what all elements went into the filmmaking process. Hi, Aisha. Good morning.
Hi, Ahwaan. Good morning.
Yeah. First thing, Aisha, we would like to know from you, like, how did this idea of taking up this subject, which is a very serious and dark, bold of nature, come to your mind?
So actually, Vice India approached me with a pool of stories. They had come up with this idea of Indian Predator being an umbrella show and many seasons of it, and therefore there were many stories being considered. Um, and you go through a process of elimination and filtration to see which is going to be a very strong story for you to tell, which is the one that you want to actually go with. Um, and also because this was happening, we were building this around in the middle of the pandemic in 2020.
Okay.
This story takes place in Delhi, and I'm from Delhi, and I'm a big true crime buff and fan. And what really struck me was that you know being in my backyard, I had never heard of this story.
Okay.
um, so I was immediately very interested in this one.
Okay. Great. So this, I think, this incidents that took place in the West district. That is what the documentary says, and
Northwest.
Northwest and Azadpur and
North and Northwest.
those
Yeah,
areas.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
Aisha, how much time did it take for you to complete the entire documentary?
We started in April, May of 2020, and we just finished. So,
Oh,
2 years.
almost
Yeah,
2 years. It
yeah,
must have
almost
been a
2 years.
very arduous process, I must admit. And the
Yes.
amount of research that you have done for this documentary is definitely visible in the show. And
Yeah.
yeah, so you've taken a lot of pain that shows in the documentary in getting the people for your interviews. So, was there any kind of reluctance uh, in getting them? Because you even went to the, I think, the village where the criminal who went by the name CC. I'm not
Yeah.
revealing the full name because that is for the audience. So to see,
Yeah.
and I think you actually went there and interviewed the inhabitants of the village. So was there any
Yeah.
kind of reluctance? What were the challenges that you primarily faced?
We had a really strong research team and a research head. And it was a process of building trust with the people. So as we were discovering more and more names and people and relationships to the central character in the story, um, our research head and our research team would do pre-interviews. They tried to do, from WhatsApp calls to interviews and phones, and build a relationship over like many months.
Right.
Um, and that's when we actually eventually went to shoot with them. But there was reluctance. uh, it's a very tragic crime, and it's hurt a lot of people, on both sides of the story. So I think yeah, we had some people who dropped out as well, who first agreed and then didn't want anything to have to do with the story.
You mean the
uh,
villagers or the persons who you interviewed, the victims, the relatives connected to the victim? Are you
yeah,
talking about that
yeah,
part of the
yeah,
people?
just
Okay.
yeah, it was too close to some people, so they didn't want to relive it. But there was a lot of uh, agreeability as well. We did get a fair bunch of people to speak as well. So I would say it's 50-50. We had some people who were not agreeable and some people who were keen.
Okay. In the documentary, we see that there are primarily 3 persons from the legal journalism and criminal psychology. There is one lady I'm forgetting her name, but
Dr. S.L. Vaya.
sorry.
Dr. S.L. Vaya.
Dr. SLY, absolutely. Yeah, and she was very, focused and astute, I would say, in presenting and revealing the psychological things that goes inside the mind of the criminal, and that was really very intriguing and even fascinating, eye opener. So, did you actually were you the one who actually interviewed them, or did you give any script
Yeah.
to them before? Like,
No,
how
no,
was
no,
the
no,
process?
no, 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 no. I interviewed each character that you see on screen.
Yeah,
There's no script. You just ask a lot of questions, and each question has its own set of answers, and then you open up a whole new area of questions. You obviously go with some ideas in your mind of what you think that what you need from that person,
right.
because each person serves a certain purpose in the story,
Yes,
and they have to connect certain parts of it. So you definitely need them to say those things,
right.
but in no way are you feeding them those things. They have to, like someone like Dr. Baya, who's a
Mhm.
complete professional. um, she's not going to speculate. She's going to work with real material. So she was working off real case documents, like, from the disclosure statement to the case files to the bayans. So she's working off the letters, the phone calls.
Yeah. So she actually worked during that timeline, as in 2016 years back. She was the one who was
No, no,
actually
no.
involved, or
No,
she
she
was
was
kind
not
of
working on this case at that time.
okay.
We presented her the material for this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, but that was really amazing to get those insights from those people. It was really good. And another thing which also came to my mind while watching the documentary, and which actually very much captivated me, was the characters that you have taken in your show. The person who actually enacts the protagonist here, he is kind of very creepy. I don't see him doing narrative or telling any single word, even no dialogue, but his face
Hmm.
and the entire mood of the documentary is so
Hmm.
creepy, menacing, I
Hmm.
would say. How did you get those things so perfect?
I mean, if you are immersed in the material, you do recognize that it's a creepy story. It's a very menacing story. And the one thing about this character is that he definitely has some kind of very big hold on the people around him. He's able to create a sense of terror or fear. So that is, I think, what we tried to do. We tried to keep everything in that mood. um, so you feel a sense of ominous, like
Exactly.
from the kind of shot taking to the kind of performance. Everything is sort of designed with that in mind.
You also have a fabulous, I think the technical crew there, they have done a fabulous job. Like the music,
Yeah,
so ominous
yeah,
in nature. Even the editing, it
yeah,
was so crisp, like everything, the sequence of
yeah,
events that
yeah,
form the narrative.
yeah,
So
yeah.
how did you assemble the crew?
I have worked with a lot of them
Okay.
before.
Okay.
Some I have not worked with before, but they have all surprised me in how amazing they've been. I would say from the costume to set to editing to music to design, sound design, everyone has just been, I mean, incredible in what they brought to it. Everyone brought their own sensibility, creativity. It all, I was able to work very fluidly with all of them.
Right.
Obviously, you have a process of back and forth, and you go and you build things together. But I think that for me, everything aligned well with everybody.
Yeah, and you also have presented actual case facts. I think those letters
Yeah,
which the criminal he
yeah,
posted to the police, challenging
uh-huh.
like
Hmm.
witness veracity, challenging
Hmm.
like what is the mobile, why did he commit, and
Yeah,
ये जगह पे ये रखा है ये
yeah,
मतलब एक एक clues देते हुए ये सब भी किया. So those letters were real. Did you which
yeah,
you
yeah. The letters are real, but obviously, what you see on camera in with characters are recreated.
okay,
But the original source letter is real, and then we had them recreated for graphics as well.
okay.
So photographed in very high definition, and then we use them. And yeah, so production design department was amazing. They were able to recreate it like from the
Absolutely,
handwriting
it
to
really
everything.
reflects
Yeah,
in the kind of and the
yeah,
voice and the person who's narrating. I think the person who
Yeah,
connected the protagonist and the one who is narrating, like, in the voice, they are different characters,
yeah,
they're different person.
yeah,
But it looks
yeah,
like
yeah,
it's so much into the character. They are so much into the character. It really
yeah,
looks like, okay, he's the actual person who is doing this.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a good compliment.
yeah, absolutely. You deserve it. And
Thank you.
like these real case facts, like, was it really challenging for you to get hold of them? Like, you went to the Delhi police, and how did you procure all of
Yeah,
this?
luckily there's the case. It was quite a rich case file that was available,
Mhm.
and since I mean, I don't want to give away too much, but the case is where it is, as you know.
Mhm.
The case files were made available to us.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, we were lucky in that sense that this particular case, because of the status of it, and we were able to get the material. But again, it was because of the hard work of our research head,
Absolutely.
Nandita, building the relationships with the police and the people in the police, and managing to get all that material out.
Right. Great. And one more thing, like, did any like crime thrillers, when I was actually seeing the documentary, it took my memory back to Raman Raga, which was made by Anurag Kashyap. And I think
Right.
even Sriram Raghavan, who also made
Yeah.
during the starting phase of his career, he had made a story of Raman Raghav, the real story. So
Okay.
did
Okay.
they play any influence? Did they have any influence on you as a filmmaker?
No, no, actually, because I mean, I knew that we were working with, a totally original, different character,
Yeah,
real character. So it was very important to keep that in mind. We tried to everything that we've done, where we've tried to reenact how he does things inside his room. His personality is based on people who knew him and they've told us things about him.
so it was all the imaginary, as in all the imagery that you created based on your interactions, right? Because I think in the documentary it shows that you were not given access to actually
Yeah, no,
uh,
so
talk to him.
no, yeah, we couldn't speak to him
Yeah,
because of where he is.
yeah,
But it's based on people like how people describe him, how people know him, what people said of him, and what he says of himself as well.
yeah,
He's
yeah,
written long letters, he's given a big disclosure statement.
right.
So based on a lot of these is how we piece together the reenactments as well.
Okay, fantastic. So we would like to, I think you started your career or in your early phases with films like Monsoon Wedding, and even you were part of the crew in Laksha, right?
Yeah,
So what
yeah,
made
yeah.
you, yeah, what made you come to the, like, this is a slightly different world altogether, right? The real world of
Yeah.
documentaries, quite.
Um, Yeah, I mean, I think I love both. I like fiction, I like documentary. And as it happened in my life, like I've been a big fan of documentary
Yeah,
in the last 10-15 years. So at the same time, documentary as a genre has moved from being a very purist form to now having a lot of reenactments and dramatizations.
right.
So it kind of is blurring the lines between uh, these two things. So it's an interesting moment, in time for me to. It's kind of like working in both mediums at one time. You're fictionalizing as well, but you're also working in reality. So
Right.
yeah,
Fantastic. So what are your future projects, if you would like to give some hint?
I can't actually talk about it right now.
But
I
you
can't
are
talk about what
involved
I'm doing next.
because
Sorry.
but you are currently involved in other projects
Yeah, yeah,
and kind of documentaries or
yeah, yeah. I'm doing another documentary series. It's not crime.
okay, we would love to
Yeah.
see that because you have come across as a very promising filmmaker. You kept us totally riveted throughout the series.
Thank you, Awan.
Yeah. So it was great talking to you, Ayesha. We wish you all the best,
Thank you.
and I'm
Thank you so
sure
much.
the Indian Predator will get a lot of popularity in the OTT space. Thank
Thanks so
you.
much. Enjoy watching. Thank you.